Bonanza wasn't just another television show. It was a cultural landmark. Premiering in 1959, it became one of the longest-running and most beloved Western series in television history. Set around the Cartwright family and their vast Ponderosa ranch, the show combined action, family drama, and emotional storytelling in a way that connected deeply with audiences. At the center of it all were unforgettable characters brought to life by actors who became household names. But as time passed, many of these stars faced personal struggles, health battles, and tragic endings that fans rarely hear about. This is the story of how every major Bonanza cast member died, and the real lives behind the legends. We begin with Lorne Greene, who played Ben Cartwright, the strong and wise patriarch of the family. On screen, he was a symbol of stability and authority, a father figure not just to his sons, but to viewers around the world. His deep voice and commanding presence made him instantly recognizable, and he carried a sense of calm leadership that defined the show. Off-screen, Greene was just as disciplined. He took his craft seriously and worked consistently across radio, film, and television. However, years of work and aging began to take a toll on his health. In his later years, he was diagnosed with pneumonia, a serious condition that can quickly become life-threatening, especially for older individuals. Despite receiving treatment, complications developed. His body struggled to recover, and the illness worsened over time. On September 11th, 1987, Lorne Greene passed away at the age of 72. His death felt symbolic to many fans, as if the heart of Bonanza itself had been lost. Even years later, his portrayal of Ben Cartwright remains one of the most respected father figures in television history. Next is Michael Landon, who played Little Joe Cartwright, the youngest and most emotionally expressive member of the family. Landon brought charm, vulnerability, and energy to the role, making him one of the most beloved characters on the show. But Landon's impact went far beyond acting. After Bonanza, he became a major creative force, working behind the scenes as a writer, director, and producer. His work on Little House on the Prairie and Highway to Heaven cemented his legacy as one of television's most influential figures. However, his life took a tragic turn in 1991 when he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. The diagnosis came unexpectedly, and the disease progressed rapidly. Despite the severity of his condition, Landon chose to speak openly about his illness, giving interviews and showing remarkable courage in the face of adversity. His openness inspired many, but the reality of the disease could not be stopped. On July 1st, 1991, Michael Landon passed away at just 54 years old. His death shocked fans worldwide. It wasn't just the loss of an actor. It was the loss of a storyteller who had shaped the emotional landscape of television for decades. Then there is Dan Blocker, who played Hoss Cartwright, the gentle giant of the family. Hoss was known for his kindness, humor, and innocence, making him one of the most loved characters on the show. Off-screen, Blocker shared many of those same qualities. He was known as a warm, generous person who treated everyone with respect. His presence brought a sense of balance to the cast, and his character added emotional depth to the series. Tragically, his life ended suddenly. In 1972, Blocker underwent what was expected to be a routine gallbladder surgery. However, complications arose after the procedure. He suffered a pulmonary embolism, a blockage in the lungs that can be fatal if not treated immediately. On May 13, 1972, Dan Blocker passed away at the age of 43. His sudden death had a profound impact on the show. The producers chose not to replace his character, and many fans felt that Bonanza was never quite the same without him. His loss remains one of the most heartbreaking moments in television history. Pernell Roberts, who played Adam Cartwright, had a very different relationship with the show. His character was intellectual, serious, and often more reserved than the others. Roberts brought depth and complexity to the role, but he also felt creatively limited. Eventually, he made the bold decision to leave the show early, choosing to pursue more meaningful and diverse roles. This decision was unusual at the time, especially given the show's success. But Roberts valued artistic growth over popularity. In the years that followed, he built a respected career in theater and television, proving his versatility as an actor. However, like many of his co-stars, his life was later affected by illness. He was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, the same disease that had taken Michael Landon years earlier. On January 24, 2010, Pernell Roberts passed away at the age of 81. His journey reflected independence and conviction, a willingness to walk away from fame in search of something deeper. Another important figure was David Canary, who played Candy Canaday, a ranch foreman who became a trusted member of the Cartwright family. Canary joined the show later, but quickly became an important part of its dynamic. He brought a sense of loyalty and strength to his role, and his presence helped fill the gap left by earlier cast changes. After Bonanza, Canary went on to achieve major success in daytime television, particularly in soap operas where he earned multiple awards. In his later years, Canary lived a quieter life. His passing came on November 16, 2015, at the age of 77 due to natural causes. While his death was not sudden or tragic in the same way as some of his co-stars, it marked the end of another chapter in the Bonanza legacy. Victor Sun Young, who played Hop Singh, brought warmth and humor to the series. His character was more than just the Cartwright family's cook. He was an essential part of the household. Young had a long career in Hollywood, often taking roles that challenged stereotypes and brought more depth to Asian characters at a time when representation was limited. He was respected not only for his acting, but also for his professionalism. However, his life ended in a tragic and unexpected way. On November 1st, 1980, he died from carbon monoxide poisoning caused by a faulty heater in his home. He was 65 years old. His death was sudden and preventable, making it even more heartbreaking. It served as a reminder of how quickly life can change. Finally, we look at Mitch Vogel, who joined the series later as Jamie Hunter Cartwright, an adopted son. Vogel brought a youthful energy to the show and quickly became a familiar face to viewers. Unlike many of his co-stars, Vogel chose a different path after his time on Bonanza. He stepped away from Hollywood and pursued a quieter life, focusing on personal interests rather than continuing in the entertainment industry. As of today, he is still alive, making him one of the few remaining connections to the original series. His story stands in contrast to the others, not defined by tragedy, but by choice. There were also several recurring and supporting actors who contributed to the success of Bonanza, many of whom have since passed away due to age-related illnesses or natural causes.